Water is a vital element. It's crucial to our existence as a people. It's crucial to our island's existence, but it's also crucial to the surrounding marine habitats. Water, from my Gurrumpul Genival Morton family perspective, is seen as a living spirit. And we even have names to describe it in its living form. And one name we use to describe the spirit of the lakes is the Budagari, and the other name we use to describe it when it goes from the lakes to the creeks is the jargon. And we know that that spirit's real because when our ancestors visited places, and some of us still practice it till this day, before we access an area, we have to get permission first from the water spirit to be able to do it. And the old people would have words and language that they would request permission for access in. And if the spirits denied access through the signs that would be seen in response, the people wouldn't go and access that area, they'd turn around and go home. And I know from my great-grandmother's stories, there was plenty of times where they requested access and they were denied, so they left without even going to the lake.
We were hunters and gatherers, we weren't farmers, and we learned how to manage our food resources by keep moving around. And we'd probably start here, and when we got back here would be well over a year later, and the food would replenish and we would start the cycle again. They've drilled down in an Aboriginal mitten, which is a pile of shells the Aboriginal people had over thousands of years, and they've carbon dated one, and it was 9 metres deep, the mitten, and that was 25,000 years old. And that mitten was only a really young one. Some of our mittens go down 18, 20 metres. So far as we know, Aboriginal people have existed on Stradbroke Island for over 40,000 years. That's my history. That's my history. And yeah, I'm very proud of it. And I'm very proud to be Aboriginal. And when I see my grandson, he runs around saying he's a Noogie man, so it just makes me feel good.
It's a great place to grow up. Loved it. You know, just Dad used to take us camping, and it wasn't just us, it was other families involved. He'd set up tents. Mum and Dad used to always take us fishing. She'd collect oysters and we'd swim and play and all of that fun. Yeah. I love the place.
So the island itself is in abundance of resources. So plants, animals, and then the water is so important. We got boats we go fishing in, take the grandchildren out, my son's out for hunting dugong and turtle, cruise on the mangroves, spearing fish and collecting mud crabs as well. So I guess the most important one is fresh water and food source. Not just to our people, and since understanding the mangrove systems and having a look at the island, we're actually surrounded by fresh water as a moat that keeps the salt water out. Sand filters the water. But then it's the evaporation that lets the water fall down. So there's that cycle, there's a cycle of how water works.
Well, I've been a wetland ecologist for about 15 years of my life. So I'm very interested in doing science that can help improve wetland protection, management and restoration. Stradbroke Island is really a special place. It's one of the few islands in the world that they're completely made of sand. And they're also very special because they have all kinds of wetlands in just one island. So first you have the lakes that are fed by rain, and the water that goes through the lakes then drains into these beautiful wetlands around the island, this swamp forest. And then after that, the water goes to feed the melaleuca trees. And finally goes out to the mangroves, providing habitat to a lot different types of species, different types of plants and animals, and just getting this beautiful setting that you can't find any other place in the world.
That swamp goes down to the salt water at the bottom of North Stradbroke Island. So the mangroves need fresh water too. And what grows in the mangroves, you know, it's a fish estuaries, food. So there's a cycle there, isn't there? You know, the fresh into the salt, into the mangroves, into the estuaries, and we hunt what's in the estuaries.
I've worked with Uncle Nom for the past 3-4 years. We've been investigating how's the water of the island changing, because there is a natural process of wetlands that change. So wetlands can accrete soil, they can expand, sometimes during dry periods maybe they can contract. But we're trying to separate these two things. What's natural happening in the island, what is climate change, and what are the activities that are done in the island. Uncle Norm and I have worked together trying to combine the information that we have. His perspective from his experience on country, and then from what we see from space and what we see when we go to these wetlands and measure how the water is doing, how clean the water is. If you see the one above this,
Yeah,
this is like a very sensitive of salinity. If it's fresh water, it would probably be like around 100.
yeah.
So it's 1,000, but if you look at it compared to the ocean, it's still low, but there's a little bit of salt, but not that much.
So it's the acid that's killing the trees.
Well, it may be. I'm not sure, but it is very acid. You can see there, it exposes the soil.
Yep.
And when that soil is exposed, it starts becoming acid. Well, I am a scientist, but I'm mostly a field scientist. So being in that place with someone that has known this place for thousands of years, it's like doing 100,000 field trips at once. So for me, the information that I get from traditional owners, it's invaluable.
You know, where there's water, there is life, and like the kangaroos used to come down to the water. So we'd wait in the afternoon when the kangaroos come to have a drink, and we'd get the kangaroos. It was also food, freshwater eels, fish, sometimes crayfish, and yeah, water. You can't live without water, you've got to have water, eh? It's such a precious commodity. We've got to look after it and manage it properly.
In the late 80s, local government decided that they needed more water supplies to accommodate the development on the mainland, and they agreed against the opposition of local community to build a pipeline from Stradbroke Island to Redlands. And a lot of us were saying back then, you should be planning development progress around your natural resource sustainable carrying capacity. Now they're pumping megalitres of water daily off the island, and we've already seen the impacts caused as a result, where we've had perch lakes and lagoons dry up and no longer be able to contain surface groundwater. And if it gets to the point where they extract too much groundwater and it goes down to sea level or below sea level and salt water starts to encroach, the whole of the island's aquifer will become contaminated and the groundwater won't be able to be used. Your Aboriginal spirit is a part of your land, and the water, if the land to us is our mother spirit, the water's like the mother's blood, and it's that land and that mother spirit that's fed us now from the time of the dreaming, which is tens of millenniums, throughout infinite generations of our being. And without that crucial element of the water, our spirit is impacted as well. What that water was originally created for, it can be used for, and that is to sustain this island and to sustain the ecosystems that have evolved around this island, both on the island in its wetland forms, as well as in the littoral zones, as well as into the marine habitat.
If we don't look after the ecology of the area that filters the waters, but we're contributing to the polluting of the waters, how do we better filter it so it comes back in a better way?
I hope that my grandchildren, my great-grandchildren, and any of the future descendants can enjoy this island and appreciate this island for its natural values and its natural worth.